Pretty impressive. I'm Dante Basco.
I'm Troy Baker. How are you guys doing?
Dude,
This is our first panel together?
This is our first panel together.
This is our first panel together.
You
and
and
we're
I
working
have,
on an album now.
Yeah, so we're doing that.
So it's gonna be cool.
It's gonna be like Backstreet Boys.
It's like Backstreet Boys acoustic unplugged.
And you know, Dante and I have like bumped into each other because this is the way the whole thing works. It's you meet people like
On the con circuit.
yeah, that's when we really get a chance to actually hang out and go, who are you? Because one of us is coming in or one of us is coming out of studios, and you do a lot of stuff at Nickelodeon, though.
Yeah. Hashtag con life. This is it.
That's right. Hashtag con life. So I like these opportunities because I know the topic is a life outside anime, but career outside anime, maybe a life outside. Either one.
Life and career.
One of them pays. I'm not going to tell you which one. But it would be cool. I kind of want to get to know this guy too. So maybe like together we could, you know, kind of find out some
vice
stuff.
versa.
Because I've seen your sister perform.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. Your sister, Dante does spoken word. His sister, Lady Basco.
Lady Basco.
Also does.
That's my little sister.
Is your little sister?
Yeah, it's my little sister. She has a spoken word venue, or performance venue, downtown LA called Speakeasy, and I have a spoken word venue called DP, the Poetry Lounge in LA.
I need to go to this.
You
thing,
need to come.
Dude.
You need to come
I've only
down.
seen her streaming up. That was the only time I ever saw her.
Oh yeah, you gotta come too.
And my wife was with me, and she has this one spoken word thing. How basically her perfect man. Like I will find a man.
Yeah.
It's intense, girls. I mean, like if you want to like walk out and be like, yes, or don't do this. Maybe find a different place, whatever's more appropriate for you. But
and I just saw a CD yesterday. I saw it today too of your band.
Yeah.
Called
Trey Fontaine.
Trey Fontaine.
And nobody knows. Feel free to go to sleep, guys.
Can you circa what year were we talking about these pictures on that CD?
It was 10 years ago. And 10 years ago,
it's awesome.
That looked cool.
It was cool.
Just to have like
Troy's
the Johnny
hair.
Resnick from Goo Goo Dolls hair.
That's what it was.
That's straight up. What's funny is I kept cutting my. I like to think that he changed his haircut for me, because I would cut my hair and then Johnny Resnick literally would have the same hairstyle on whatever album they were out next, and so it just kind of became this.
So I have a story about that dude.
Yeah, it explains the restraining order that he has against me, but we kid, you know, it's just how we love each other. Nobody knows who the Goo Goo Dolls is.
You guys know who the Goo Goo Dolls are?
Okay, there's 3 people.
All right. So I actually have a story about him.
About Johnny Resnick?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know the dude, but so there's this restaurant in LA called the, what's that? It's like a breakfast restaurant right on Sunset, across the street from the Coffee Bean right there, Sunset in Fairfax. The Griddle.
Oh, the Griddle, yeah.
Yeah, the Griddle. So I'm at the Griddle with my girl, and Johnny Resnick is sitting like right behind us, and the tables are really close to each other, right? And I'm eating, and like after breakfast, he's there the whole time with some guy just talking. But you know when you see someone in your mind, their song is in your head?
That's
so
cool.
in my head, I'm singing, you know, I don't want the world. And so I'm done eating, and I didn't even think it was in my head. I'm like, I yawn after like I eat, and I'm like, I don't want the world to be. And I'm singing, and I look, and when I lean back, my head's literally on their table. And I don't think that you'd understand.
Hey man, we don't have to make this weird.
And it was super weird, and I was super embarrassed. Like we connected eyes, and he looked at me like, "What the fuck?" And I leaned back, and I was like, "Oh my god, I don't believe I just did that."
Yeah, have you ever heard that song? It's by a band. I'll just leave. Jack?
I'm super embarrassed. But just the song is in your head, and you're humming it, and then you're singing it to the guy who sings it.
But that's what's great. I mean, like, it's true. There are definitely moments in living in LA where you're just gonna bump into random, and it never happens like when you're ready for it. It's always when you have diarrhea or whatever. I don't know. It's like the most uncomfortable you could possibly be. I was sitting outside of that Starbucks that's off of Sunset, right next to Saddle Ranch.
Right.
And it's always those places. It's like the Griddle. There's always somebody there. but then there's a Starbucks that's right across, not too far away from that joint.
The Old Thunder Road, right there.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm getting my coffee, and it's like one of those things where your life it hangs in the balance of how good this coffee is. Have you ever had one of those mornings where you're like, this could go either way, guys, and this will determine everything? And so I'm having my coffee, I'm just like, please, just do something positive for my life right now. And I look up, and Billy Bob Thornton is just staring at me. And I was like, you go, hey? He goes, hi. I says, good coffee. He goes, I hope so, I'm going to get some. And walks inside. I was like, that was my interaction with Billy Bob Thornton. I hope so, I'm going to get some. He like bumps my shoulder. I was like, sorry. He goes, sorry. Oh. I used to date Angelina Jolie. That's my Billy Bob Thornton impression.
He married her.
Again, 6 people know
He
who
married
Bob Thornton
her.
is. Well, you did marry her. Yeah, but that was a weird marriage.
It was a weird marriage. I was at the premiere of Gone in 60 Seconds, and they were like making out all over the premiere.
Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie, or Angelina Jolie and her brother?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Again,
Either
relevant
one could
topics
happen.
from 6 years ago that only 4 people
Yeah.
get.
So, what's up?
So that's Los Angeles. That was our intro.
That was our awkward intro.
If this was Fallon, then we would be going to our first break. And I think we actually got more laughs than Fallon gets.
Exactly.
Waka!
Nothing goes to Tampa. I mean, nothing happens in Tampa like LA. I mean,
Oh, there's some stuff that happened last night, bro.
Last night in Tampa, I wound up at the Castle.
He was at the castle,
Have you been to the Castle?
and I don't...
It's kind of like a gothic fetish club, kind of. Which I didn't realize what was going on. And there's this one dude there named, they call him the Senator. Do you guys know about the Senator? The Senator was ass naked. In
Senator does what?
this guy called the Senator, he's like a middle-aged man, but he was like butt naked in this at the castle, but he had like a string around his waist, like twine kind of, and like a nut sack.
Okay.
oh damn.
And then he like making his way to the dance floor, and he's boogieing, and I'm like, I'm actually proud of my man for being very cool with himself and his body.
Good for you,
That
man.
he could just, Good
for you.
That he's just out there doing his thing.
algebra Monday through Friday.
But not on Saturday night at the castle. He's the Senator. He's like, that's his superhero alter ego. Yes, questions.
Thank you for saving us.
He's the mayor? Oh, I'm sorry. The mayor.
We stand corrected, bro.
I knew he had some political ties. I didn't understand which ones they were.
I, however, humble brag, went to the Marvel Live show last
That's
night.
cool. That's cool.
Which, if I was 9 years old, I would have been losing my mind.
How
But-
corny was it?
How what?
How corny was it?
Bro, no words, man. No words. We all did the voices for it. Like I play Hawkeye and Loki, Travis plays Thor. I mean, everybody from the show that we do is on there, with the exception of Adrian Pastar was an Iron Man. Nolan North was Iron Man. He makes a great Iron Man. But so we knew. If you ever see like a Six Flags stunt show or whatever, I mean, you know it's bad. But It never occurred to me until we started doing this stuff is that somebody records those voices because you're not actually hearing them do it. They're pantomiming to everything that we say, and they're really selling it that it's 4:30 in the afternoon. Everything is so big, and we knew it was gonna be bad. But I was like, I still got to see it, and it was a really interesting thing because I'm sitting there going, oh my god, look at these performances. It's terrible. You don't really understand the character arc that we're trying to build here with the show. There's incontinuity, and I look around, and there is this 8-year-old behind me that is like, he is watching Jesus walk on water. He's just like. And just enraptured. It's, what's gonna happen to Wolverine, Dad? I don't know, son. Dad's gonna go get another beer, though. But it was just this really cool thing to witness, and it was super fun. And if you get like a bunch of people together, it's like going to Chuck E. Cheese now. It's like ironic that you go, but you still want to be in the ball pit. I'm just doing this for like the kicks and whatever. But I have a lot of tickets, and I'm getting that thing that's. Yeah, I always wanted stuff on the top rack, that those kids came in.
The bike.
Yeah, like the bike.
The bike, dude. I've never got that.
And it was
bike.
always like a 30-year-old guy that would walk into Showbiz or Chuck E. Cheese.
It's like 10,000 tickets.
10,000 things. He goes like, I started this when I was 8. You get that bike, bro. Today's that day, Matt. Today's that day.
Yeah.
They don't give away tickets anymore. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it's like a coupon.
They're digital?
Yeah, you have like a key and you like put it in the machine.
That's so lame, man. I wanted tickets. Because
Right.
there was nothing. It's kind of like it teaches kids about slot machines, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Roll around in the tickets.
It's like
yeah,
gambling.
dude. I knew so many kids that they're like boa constrictors. They'll strangle children.
I know, it was cool to have all those tickets when you were younger.
You walk in, you're like, what's up?
Bam. Count these.
Count them, man. Oh, we have a machine for that. You should count them. Jeez, Timmy. Okay. How old are you? I'm 6. And I want the switchblade knife comb thing. Remember that? You ever
That was the
remember
coolest thing to get. If you
I
got the switchblade
the
knife.
switchblade knife that was a comb.
Yeah, that was the
Hey,
thing.
man, don't mess with me. You got me? Whoa. Timmy's hardcore. What, Dad?
I saw a butterfly knife comb in the vendor's hall.
No, I did. I saw the butterfly knife can opener, which was awesome also.
Somebody
So-
ask a question.
Questions.
I have a question.
Yes, you were in the front row in the red shirt with the palm trees and the seagull.
I actually have something for you, Troy.
Oh, God. Don't throw it.
It's a star. You kill it.
Oh, this is amazing. I sold my daughter for booze. It's free. It was a good deal. A good bottle of whiskey. And there's a game at Bioshock, and
Shock,
he has
yes.
a daughter that
Sold it for booze.
had a drinking problem.
Happens to the best of them.
And then I was all like, you know, no. And then she grows up and she can control reality. So I think, in the long run, she lost a pinky. She gained power over reality, and
I'll trade into my pinky for power over reality.
she looks like Laura Dern. 5th row. This is a good thing.
Fifth
Do
row.
you remember Jurassic Park? The main girl in Jurassic Park? Oh God, it was you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. Seat 3 from the left.
Yeah,
Far left.
Laura Dern. Yeah,
See
Laura
it?
Dern.
You see Laura Dern?
Yeah, I see that. I see the Laura Dern there. Cool.
That's a big pile of poop.
So, yes, question, sir.
Donnie, in Fora last week,
Yeah.
Zuko reappeared.
Yes, elder statesman Zuko.
Yeah, so did they ever even ask you if you wanted to do the voiceover? Or?
No, you know, they were searching for a Dante Basco voice type, but like 70 years old. So, I mean, I saw the breakdown.
Get me a 70-year-old Dante Basco.
Yeah, I thought I got a kick out of that. No, I mean, I'm still voicing Iroh on the show, so, and I'm not one of those voice actors that have tons of different voices, so that wasn't gonna work. Pretty much me talking the same way. in
I know
different
a guy.
things. You know a guy?
I know a guy. Slips him his card. That show, man.
He was a good character in that
Was he?
show, and I really liked him, you know?
Thank you. Thank you, sir. He's a great guy, a great character. He's an awesome, epic dude.
He was a dirtbag for a little while, then he was a good guy.
He's a dirtbag.
Listen to this guy. All right, I don't be speaking out of turn or nothing, but the guy's a dirtbag. You understand what I'm saying to you right now? He's a dirtbag.
No disrespect. No
maybe he has
disrespect, but the
problem
guy's
with
a
his
fucking
brakes.
dirtbag.
He just, you know, some people, some bad things happen to him. That's all I'm saying. Maybe he doesn't come home. Or maybe he pays up like he's supposed to.
It's not a strange feeling that at 70 years old, Dante would still look the same as he does now.
He's 89.
That might happen. It's too much time in Neverland, man. Too much time in Neverland.
Methuselah.
Question. We're actually supposed to be talking about life outside of voiceovers. But that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that was I was like,
We're all doing things and whatnot. I mean,
Yeah, you know.
dress up like fictional characters. I think that's what we're here
Exactly. So we can roll with however y'all want to roll.
yeah, okay.
I have a
Oh, God.
or scenario thing I wanted you guys to enact, but I don't. It's okay if you don't want to. But what if Zuko went out and searched for Excalibur?
Oh, this is easy.
I must find Excalibur. Oh, something like that.
Pretty much perfect. All right, next for you. Go. Or are you just
Yes.
praising Jesus? I don't know what's happening.
Yes, you.
Not today.
Yes.
I have a question for you guys. I know that you guys are really passionate about acting. What are you passionate about outside of that? Like, what really gets you, like, hyped?
I got a lot of passions. You know, I've been doing poetry for a long time, spoken word, and I actually toured the country doing a lot of that kind of stuff at colleges and whatnot. And writing, I love writing. I wrote a few films that got produced, and my first play did a bunch of sold-out nights last year in LA, and we're doing a run of it downtown LA this year. So I'm passionate about that. It's in the world of writing. Outside of like the creative world, what am I passionate about? I'm not 100% sure. Money, cash. Oh, poker. I'm a good poker player. I'm a good poker player, I guess. I play poker all over the country and the world too sometimes. And you know, they let you go on a celebrity poker competition, so. Yeah, they like fly me out and I get free buy-ins. That's kind of cool. Yeah. And then also just like lightweight. I'm like a tech geek, lightweight. So, you know, I go to those conferences and read like Engadget and Gizmodo and TechCrunch and stuff like that before I go to sleep. What are you into?
Toaster strudels. The frosting is just right, you know. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people who were here the other night, music is kind of been, that's a good respite for me, both physically, emotionally. It's crazy as you get older, how your passions, they temper a bit, but they also get really laser focused. Like you really start, like when I was younger, I was in everything. There was so much stuff that I wanted to do, and then you find that time becomes an even more precious commodity, and you're not able to go to that cash machine and withdraw those funds that you need as often as you want, or that account is just dry. So you start really being smart with your investments, and you get a family, and you put all your time into that as much as you can, and I spend a lot of time working, even though we're not like in a studio or something. So you need to come up for air every once in a while, and I've got a very, very tight-knit group of friends, and those are my people that are my backbone, and they remind me of why I'm doing what I'm doing, so that it's really easy for me to work just because I love it so much, and that'll start eating you up, and you have to be able to go, okay, I need to go play cards. I need to do something else besides this, so you stay loose. What's up? They were just pointing. Yeah. Huh? I was here. Oh, last night at the castle thing? It was a great time. Awesome. But I love cards as well. I'm really starting to try to go back and read classics. Like on a whim, I got Dostoevsky, The Idiot, and because I feel like
This one guy said, Brother Karamazov is everything you need to know about life.
Really?
Yeah, and I tried to read it 4 times, and it's so hard.
It's so great. I mean, do you guys know what we're talking about at all? Dostoevsky? All right, cool.
Summer reading.
Really? Well, it'll take up the whole of the summer.
So hardcore.
It's I think that we're getting away from thinking. I think that we don't have to think as much as we used to. There's never any time for us to just sit and think. Not be on your phone and do something, but just sit in silence and think. I never do this. I'm always constantly got some screen in front of me. And I love to take breaks and play game, which is a great outlet for me, and it also reminds me that I'm a gamer first, and that's what I love doing. But we just need to sit and think sometimes, and just be uncomfortable with it too. When was the last time you just sat down somewhere, no phone, no iPad, no TV, no anything to distract you, and just welcomed whatever thought was in your mind. It could be terrible. It could be like a scary thought. So we call it sleeping. We close our eyes when we do this, and we play movies in our mind. We never do that. And I challenge you, man, do that just once next week. If you can get one, it's going to be huge. But just sit there and go, and not reach for the phone, not reach for the TV, not reach for anything, but just sit there in the uncomfortableness of your own thought and get comfortable with it. It's crazy. So yeah.
I'm with that. That's big. Go ahead.
I know you're into music, and you mentioned Aerosmith and the Eagles earlier in the weekend in your panels. I was wondering what kind of music you like to listen to.
I'm all over the map. Did you tweet that? Did you say I forgot to ask him if he liked
Yeah,
Aerosmith?
that was
I
me.
love Aerosmith.
That's my favorite band, so, and I've seen them like a billion times in concert.
I have such an affinity for Get a Grip, like that album, which is really cool, and it spoke to me when it came out. It was like I was really open to it. And then you kind of go back and you do, Toys in the Attic, and you do, Pump and everything else, which is great. But yeah, Get a Grip and 9 Lives.
I love
Believe it or not, 9 Lives. That I was like, some albums become like the soundtrack of your life, and I was going through a bad breakup, and Hole in My Soul was like on repeat, just like crazy. Ain't That a Bitch, and just like 9 Lives. 9 Lives is a great album. Eagles as well. My favorite Eagles song is the last song on side A, which is also the first song on side B, which is Wasted Time. And that is just, if you've never heard it, get Hotel California. It was so made to be a record, and it's one of the things that we wanted to do with my record, was to make it feel like an album where there's a side A and a side B. And the last song on side A of Hotel California is a song called Wasted Time. It's just a beautiful piece, but then on the flip side of it is an orchestral arrangement, like an epilogue to that song that is, everyone I've ever played it for is like, who's that? I'm like, that's the Eagles. That's the Eagles. And it's just an incredible arrangement. So yeah, I love the Eagles too. Always more of a Don Henley fan, not like a Glenn Frey or, Joe Walsh. But I was a Don Henley fan.
I like Glenn Frey.
You do?
His voice is awesome.
It's better than Joe Walsh. I'm not a Joe Walsh guy. Glenn Frey and Joe Walsh really took it to the country place, and Don Henley to me kept it in the
Pop, kind of.
in the rock, yeah.
Rock.
But what's crazy is if I'm listening to music, typically I'm listening to classical. I know how nerdy that sounds, but I absolutely love. Like I fell in love. I was on my honeymoon, and there's this. I've always hated Bach. Just it was real mathematical, and I'm not a big harpsichord guy. And my iPod was on shuffle, and I hit this one piece that's this operatic violin duet thing, and it's from the St. Matthew's Passion. And I was in Rome, and I was like, what's happening? And I just listened to it over and over and over again. It's an absolutely beautiful piece. Yeah, so classical. I listen to a lot of classical. Anyway, I'll shut up.
That was my Sports Center. Something with the Lakers or Dodgers. Go ahead. Sports Center. Yes, go ahead. Google Glass. Oh, one and then two. Either or. Ladies first.
Class 2?
This question is for Dante.
Yes.
When you were Rufio, what did you think of getting that crazy haircut? Was it fun? Did you not like it?
Yeah, you know what the thing about it is, like now Rufio's become this like kind of iconic looking character, right? Which is awesome. But the thing is, at the time, I'm 15 and you want to be cool, and the whole thing, because we were doing they had all these images of what Rufio was going to be. One of them was cool, it was like a dreadlock kid, and there was like some other ideas of what he was going to be. And so you'd have to do these like wardrobe tests, and then Steven would look at it and say, yay or nay, right? So when they're doing this particular character look, it wasn't set. Like now, like I said, now it looks cool, but at that time, like we put on I had to put like red tights on. I'm like, all right, and then the ripped jeans over it, and you're like, all right, that's cool, right? Then they're like, how about this shirt? And they're like, oh, let's cut it, and now it's a midriff, and I'm like, all right. I'm not with that. And then they were like, okay, here's a jacket. It's like a Michael Jackson jacket. And we shot this in 91, so, you know, this is the time when Michael Jackson was not cool, right? Like, he was cool in the 80s and he got cool again in the 2000s, but 90s it wasn't cool. So I'm like, why am I wearing a Michael Jackson jacket? And then they were like, a hair, we're gonna do something with the hair. And like, not one mohawk, 3 mohawks. And you're like, this is fucking not that cool. And then, you know, I walk onto the set to Neverland, and I totally remember it. We're like at the base of the tree, and Steven's shooting some other Lost Boy stuff, and they bring me around, like coming around the corner, and they're like, Steven. And I walk around the corner, and in my mind I'm thinking, hopefully, we have another option.
He's fired.
I hope he has another option. And I walk around, and Steven turns around, he's like, yes. And I'm like, fuck me. This is what I'm gonna be looking like in this big ass movie. And luckily that it all worked out good, because you never know, you know, when you're doing an original character, it could go either way. You could just look like a weirdo, but now it's awesome.
That was a huge thing for them to do, because there was so much that was in canon. There was so much that they were creating their own fiction for that. And really for that time, it wasn't so much of a stretch for like Robin Williams, but if you look at like
Tinkerbell they did a whole new Tinkerbell for Julia.
that was huge.
Huge.
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman was the joint. I mean, his Captain Hook was amazing.
That was like, I mean, you guys don't understand, like, because before that, I mean, Dustin Hoffman has gone through phases in his life, but that was like, I'm sorry, who is that? And you had Bob Hoskins.
Hoskins, believe me, that set was crazy. I would just go to the set on my days off just to watch Dustin act, because why wouldn't you?
Especially in that kind of role.
Yeah.
I mean, that was very akin to like Jack Nicholson doing the Joker. It was like this crazy character role. Even to me, the Joker for Jack Nicholson was way more of a fit, because he's just naturally that way.
Right.
But that was such a weird thing for Dustin Hoffman to do, and it was so brave, and it was so cool and interesting to watch. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just reminiscing.
All good. And the Google Glass dude.
Google Glass.
Do you guys actually seek out, like,
New life and new civilizations. Do we boldly go?
or did you stumble upon it? I was a little bit late, so you might have mentioned this earlier.
I don't think we can say it enough. Do we seek it out, or do we just stumble into it?
It's like a little bit of both, right?
Yeah, man. I think you're out seeking one thing and you stumble into another.
That's exactly what happens.
And
It's like you got to have a plan. Like if
Yes.
you're going to be an artist or even just anyone doing anything in life, I think for any measure of success, have a plan. And,
Sure.
and put your energies and powers towards that, but don't be so closed-minded as to not
that's exactly what I was going to...
see other stuff, right?
Yeah, not only that, but have that plan, but be ready to throw that away.
Because the people that hold their plan too strong also screw themselves.
Absolutely. No. I'm going to be doing this. This is what I'm doing. There's a great story. So turn of the century, or early part of the 20th century, a father and son ran a transportation business or a train business. And the son comes to the father and he goes, Dad, I'm hearing a lot of people getting into these new plane things as a source of transportation. Maybe we should look into it. And he goes, son, we're not in the plane business, we're in the train business. And what he failed to realize is that he wasn't in the train business, he was in the transportation business. And you have to be able to adapt when opportunity presents itself. So you seek out things, you're active, you're doing something. Just sitting on your ass and waiting for something to happen to you, life will happen to you and it'll go like that. And you won't have ever done anything because you're waiting for something. You have to be out there aggressively, passionately seeking it. And then you beat on this one door and you have persistence and everything, and meanwhile you look to the right, there's doors wide open going, we have table for two, whenever you get tired of beating your head against that wall, and you step through it. And then sometimes that leads to a trap door and you fall through it and you're like, why am I doing this? And it's this whole thing. But I think I tripped backwards into this. I was gonna be a rock star, I was gonna be a musician, I was gonna get a record deal, and it just so happened that the studio that we were recording our album at did car commercials. And I was like, well, that'd be cool. And they give you money for that. And that's how this whole thing started. So you have to be willing to have your dream look differently than when you think it's gonna look like. and be willing for it to be uglier than you think it's going to look like, because it'll end up growing into it's this ugly swan. It's going to grow, or ugly ducking. It's going to grow into a swan. I'm going deep today, dude. It's Sunday. What's up, bro?
Troy's going in on you guys right now. We're having like metaphysical, religious talks.
These are always great questions.
Jose.
What you got?
Yeah, for the Dante. Yeah, you remember when it come out to the post, the action figure for the Rufio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're an action figure?
Yeah.
And so what do you think about it? You said-
That the one that Mattel did sucks.
Yeah, I saw that.
They just did its own thing, but it's cool to have that one. You know, he has like 5 mohawks. Weird. 1 sock on. I don't know what the heck's going on. They got the skin tone right.
Yeah.
But you know what's the better one that I like out of the action figures is the McDonald's action figure. Yeah, the McDonald's
Yeah, they got
Happy
eBay.
Meal figure. It's like a little toy thing that I can take a bath with you.
Yeah, you can get eBay.
That's the
too.
joint.
eBay, they got it.
That's the one, Jose.
eBay, yeah. Saw that too.
Yes, you with the plushie. Current dream role? Yeah, there's one that I'm really going after, and we're in the middle of the talks for it. So we'll see, 'cause I have a production company in Hawaii. So we've done 3 films so far, and it's about this skater, this like kind of iconic Asian American skater in the 80s named Krishna Soy. So I really would love to do that role. Yeah, I've been we've been talking with Christian for like the last year and a half.
That's legit.
That'd be my dream role right now, and I'd
Christian
be able to play him
Soy,
from a teenager to I don't know. He's older now, and he's a pastor, and he's went through all this kind of drug problems and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder, because he like just dropped off the face of skating.
No, he's back. I mean, he's back down the Legend Leagues and like the X Game Legends. So he's cool, man. I've had a bunch of dinners and lunches with him. So we're trying to like lock down those rights.
You weren't lying. This is
Not
kind of
well.
jacked up.
That's jacked up right there.
It's pretty jacked up. Like, you're kind of squatty.
He's squatty, and he has the wrong hairdo and all that madness.
Yeah, that's not cool.
It's not cool.
Like,
But it's cool to have one. It's cool to have.
It's $35.
That's not bad.
Buy
That's
it now.
doable. Buy it now.
I saw
Amazon
a
Prime,
copy
free
of the Trip Fontaine CD somebody has on Amazon for $847.99 plus $3.99 shipping. And I was like, dude, come on, man, take that thing down, or give it to me.
That's hilarious.
My little silver-haired cutie here.
Thank you.
Jesus!
I'm so sorry.
May I please go to the bathroom? So,
First off, this is such a real talk. Like, stop it. We're here to be fictional characters.
I apologize.
Forget about the real world. Forget about the real world. Secondly, I knew you, not like know you.
In a past
I knew-
life.
We're not talking Avatar here. But no, I didn't know you were so attractive. Third, Dante Basco, since we brought up Rubio, was it true that they killed you off because you didn't want to do a certain role or something?
Kinda.
what happened?
Can you explain that?
No, what happened was, and I can talk about this. This is like decades later.
Okay.
So basically, I was supposed to get the sword back and all that kind of stuff. It kind of ends abruptly because they were gonna do this Lost Boys series on Fox, and the contract was super whack. And so my manager didn't want me to sign the contract, and then they killed me like the next week.
Are you serious?
I'm super serious.
That's the story I heard, but I wanted to actually ask.
It's true, and this is the irony of things. Like, a Lost Boys series would have been cool, and who knows, it might have gone, it might have not gone, because the way television works, there's a lot of hoops to jump through anyway. But at the same token, like, the death of Rufio, like, totally traumatized the whole generation of kids. So it's like, who kills a kid in a kid movie? It's crazy, but also I think that's part of what made Rufio so iconic for a generation, because it was like, all these kids were, like, how, it's just the death of Rufio is like this really jarring moment, like,
Yeah, it's like, as far as especially the 80s or early 90s, that would be up there with like Artax, You're Sinking,
yeah, it's
and
crazy.
yeah, You're Welcome, Happy Sunday. Most morbid thing to ever happen to, I don't know, a kid one that was like, ah!
I don't know. I kind of actually like that Rufio died.
Me too.
It just felt right.
Instead of faded away.
So.
Yeah, it kind of felt right. It was cool. And shooting that scene was awesome because I knocked on Dustin Hoffman's trailer door like a week before the shoot, right? And I was like, Dustin, because I looked up to him. He's obviously a living legend in the kind of actor you want to be. And I was like, Dustin, I've never died in a film. Do you have any advice for me, right?
Do it for real.
And he basically was like, he's like, kid, when are you shooting it? And I was like, next Wednesday. And he's like, I'll be there. And so he basically was my acting coach for the day. We shot it for 3 days. One day,
Wow.
Steven just left the set. It was just me and Dustin working the whole time.
Shut your
And
mouth.
it was like the super awesomest experience to have with a legend, you know what I'm saying? And like this guy who's one of the acting gods just looking at you, and by the end of, you know, like later on in life, he just talks to me. He's like, he has that affinity. He's like, kid, just keep doing what you're doing.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
I met Billy Bob Thornton at Starbucks. Didn't meet him, but
Bumped into you.
yeah. He taught me some cool things.
Top hat.
He gets a soy latte. I'm just
Question, but I'm just gonna say about 10 minutes ago, it finally hit me that you're Dante Basco.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard to hear Zuko to him that I was completely muting out your voice.
No worries. No worries.
dude.
Thank you for
Sit in that moment for a little bit.
thank you
right?
for having that moment with me. It's awkward. What did you say?
Because you guys introduced yourselves opposite.
We
That's
totally
just a jack with you guys.
we just totally mind swapped you.
I thought Troy was taller. Somebody asked a question for the love of Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Questions?
What's great is I keep looking over here to the right.
I know it
think
looks
your
like
hand's
it's a hand
like,
up, but
yes,
it's not a
you.
hand up.
Nope.
It's just a Sims life. Ding.
I've heard some terrible things that people have been doing in Sims. Like if you ever get the opportunity for one Christopher Sabat to come down, just ask what the most horrible thing ever he did in Sims was, because it was just, it wasn't like gross or anything, it was just mean. It was just terrible. Yes, my love.
Right before the panel started, my friend and I were singing the ending part of the alternate ending for The Last of Us.
Okay.
Did you hear us?
No, I wish I would have.
Let's
Can
hear
you
it.
do it?
Let's hear it.
Want to? Come on, Ellie, let's get you out of here. They're coming, and I won't let you die. Your brain is worth more alone.
That's pretty impressive.
Bravo, bravo.
That's pretty impressive. There was this, for anybody who has seen the behind-the-scenes stuff for The Last of Us, originally they wanted to animate the entire thing, but we had to reshoot this one scene because it just wasn't working. We did that several times with scenes in the game, where we would shoot it, go back, put it in the game, in the context of the story, either it wasn't working, there was something we needed to change. Sometimes it was a super small tweak, we could fix VO, or we needed to reshoot the scene, and that was one scene that we needed to reshoot. So I had to come bursting in the door and like hit this guy and grab his gun. And I kept dropping the gun, and like it's really bad because you can go without it because you're not actually getting the data from the gun. They can put that gun in my hand and make it look awesome. But you just go, oh, one more time. Sorry, go back and you reset. And if you watch the outtakes or whatever, I drop it like 23 times. It's terrible. And so finally, Neil comes up to me. He's like, "We've got it. I want to get one more. I just really want you to go with it on this. I want you to just be open to what's happening, because I think we've gotten so inside of what the beats are that we've forgotten what the scene's about. So I just want you to be open and present in the scene. And even if you drop your gun, don't worry about it. Just go with it. Don't stop. Just don't stop." I was like, "Okay, guys, listen to me. Don't stop." I'm like, "Dude, got it. You just don't stop." Okay, so we come through, and I didn't drop my gun. I'm like, yes! Oh, yes! And Marlene, who's played by Merle Dandridge, comes out, and the whole thing is like, "Joel, I know what you think you're doing here, but you need to listen to me in this really intense scene at the end of the game." And Merle Dandridge has been on Broadway, and she was in Rent, and she's done a ton of other stuff, and she is redonkulous, okay? And I knew that she could sing, but I didn't know she could sing. And I hear that voice coming out of her, and you just see me kind of lock up. It's like, oh my, guys, she's really good. Are you hearing this? And then I realize in that split second what they're trying to do, and I'm like, oh, you want to dance, do you? Well, let's go. And so we turned it in. She just wanted to sing to me, so I was like, here we go. It's gonna be like a la Les Mis, and we're gonna do this thing as a musical. And I had no lines throughout the entire thing. I was just supposed to shoot her and say, you'd only come after her. That's it. The only line in the entire scene that I have. But what cracks me up about musicals a lot of times is how I'm sitting in a chair and I'm looking through the door and I'm breathing. It's like the most obvious like things that you're doing. And so I just started narrating what I was doing and singing it. And what's hilarious is that my wife actually couldn't be there the day that we shot that for whatever reason, but we really needed Ellie there on the table. And so my wife actually, we suckered her into getting suited up, and she actually captured the data for Ellie. And if you watch the video, she is shaking because she's trying so hard not to break, because she's just cracking up, because it's hilarious. So anyway, you should just Google it, and it's way better. But they did a fantastic job of that. So now you're caught up. There we are.
Yes, with the glasses right here.
Hello. Well, right now, you're surrounded by all your fans. Everybody here knows who you are and what you do, but when you're outside at conventions, do you get recognized by people, and how are the interactions?
Yeah, I mean, I get recognized pretty often. You know, it's like I've been an actor a long time, like 28 years now, 29 years, something crazy like that. And like Rufio was like a really big film. I've been Rufio for like more of my life now than I haven't been, which is crazy. So yeah, I probably get recognized a lot, like maybe if not every day, every week by somebody or something, especially when I'm outside of LA. LA there's a lot of actors, so it's a little bit less chill, you know what I'm saying? It just goes without saying, like everyone's an actor here. You can go into any restaurant or any coffee shop, the ratio of actors to non-actors is like more actors
Or
here.
that they have a script.
Or they have a script. Everyone's in the industry there, so
Right.
it's less, even though like someone recognizes you, it's like more like, hey, what's up, how you doing? But as you go out in the country or around the world, you know, it's just like a little kind of cool thing.
Yeah.
But everyone's pretty cool because it's such like, I feel like I'm a culty kind of actor.
Yeah.
So if someone recognizes me, it's like, it makes them cool. And I'm like, you are cool, because you know
I
that kind
know
of
who
thing.
you are. Cool. No. I
No.
know who you are, bro.
Right, and
Bro, I
that
know
makes
who
you
you
cool. So that's cool.
I know. Because of how much the performance capture is really kind of taken off, and now likeness is a big thing. And the game companies have really gotten hip to the fact that you get the right actor in the right role, not necessarily the best actor, but just the right actor for the right role, and they really believe about it. We're good about talking about stuff, and so a lot of times they've been pushing us forward now into the public light and with press. So I've gotten more FaceTime than I would have just been behind a mic. So that's like, I was in the gym the other day and this guy was like, "You're Troy Baker, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Dude, I love all your work." I'm like, "Have we worked together before?" "No, I just I know who you are." So that's kind of cool.
And your voice, my voice gets recognized. Your voice must get recognized.
Not as much, only because like I think there's only a few that I do that's just like, I mean, if someone's played Saints Row or they played, I mean, BioShock was pretty close. I mean, it's just someone who's depressed. But I try to keep myself as much of a chameleon, just because I don't want people to go, "Oh, I know who that is." I'd rather them go, "That's who that is." It's like when Nolan did the
I don't
Penguin.
have that talent.
Nobody believed that was Nolan when he did the Penguin in Arkham City. So I'd rather be that guy than
That's awesome.
that guy.
Yeah, but my voice gets recognized too now, because like a whole new generation of kids who are big Zuko fans, who don't even know Rufio. They just, Zuko's become iconic in his own right for this whole new generation. So I'll just be at like I say it, like I'll be at a coffee shop, because that's when you say, "Can I get a grande soy latte?" And then people will be like, "Prince Zuko?" I'm like,
Maybe.
"Yeah." Earth
What
Cafe.
name should I put on there?
I know, right? I was ordering at Earth Cafe on Melrose like 2 days ago, and some super hot Bulgarian models like, "Are you Prince Zuko?" I'm like, "Yeah."
I surely am,
How did
darling.
you know that? You don't even speak English well.
This is gonna go very well.
But you're super hot European model, you know. So it happens. It happens. Questions?
It happened to you. Who has their hand up that I can't see what this is? No, you do. The hat.
You do.
I guess you do.
Top
Now
hat.
you have a question.
Oh yeah, it's not for me, it's for her, because she's too embarrassed to ask. But she's got the biggest crush on you, and she wants to know if you'll take a selfie with her after the
I will.
Copy
Thank
that.
you. I'm flattered.
all weekend.
I had a Kyoshi cosplay yesterday, so I kind of want you, you know,
Yo, for sure, without a doubt.
I dig it. Google Glass.
Google Glass.
Go, Dante.
Skill sets. I don't know. I mean, outside of just full on working on your craft, whether it be acting, singing, performance, all that kind of stuff, I think part of the skill set you need to have is a good ability to kind of like understand marketing. Like now more than ever with social media, how to market, how to brand yourself, and how to just this social thing. And I'm not talking about being like a social butterfly and like schmoozing people, but there's a social aspect of our industry, and I'm sure of any industry, that you have to understand to help get yourself in better places and being able to kind of talk to the people you want to talk to and not have fear of knowing who you are. And it's not like I'm groveling to people, but at the same time, it's like the ability to go talk to directors and casting directors. Part of casting, a lot of people don't understand, is like, I talk to young actors and they're going in for auditions, right? And I go, do you understand that the audition process is an interview process? Yeah, you want to be a good actor, but at a certain level, everyone's good actors, sure, right? So that could be 10 or 15% of this audition. You got like another 80% where they're trying to find out who you are.
Do I want to work with this person?
And do I want to work with you? And that's like senior. Once you have the last 5, 10 people, and you're like, all these guys can do the role. Without a doubt. All of us at the last audition, we can all do this role. Now when you go in the room, they want to know who they want to work with.
What I've tried to propagate myself as is a collaborative partner. I want developers to, because on every game, I don't care who is coming in, who has written what the story is, who the developer is, anything. There's going to come a day when you're on that stage, and they go, oh shit, now what? And you hit a roadblock, you hit a wall, you stall, something isn't working, and you can't quite put your finger on it. And you could have a lot of cooks in the kitchen, where you have people that go, I think you should do this, or you could have a partner that goes, okay, well, let's start asking questions. And you really get down and dirty with that. And that extends not only to that stage, but like you're saying, like from a social media standpoint, are you going to be able to speak intelligently about this game and promote this game and get people excited about this game? Developers and casting directors and directors and producers, they want to see that they've got someone that's an asset, not just someone who is, what's the word I'm looking for? Sufficient. Because like you said, at some point, anybody can go, would you like the steak? Nailed it. Nailed it. You know, you have to be someone that people like with, but so that's a skill set. And what that comes from is, as trite and easy as it sounds, is confidence. And what you have to do is, Mickey Rourke, which, say what you want about Mickey Rourke, he's a brilliant actor. He says, dialogue is the last thing that I worry about. If I understand who the character is and what's at stake in the scene, then that dialogue should just flow out of my mouth like a conversation. So a lot of people worry about, on this word I stand up and I do this, and then I make sure that I emphasize this word because I'm really making a point, as opposed to listening. And you've got to be a good listener, because acting is listening. Just being in that moment with that person and feeding off what they're doing. And if they drop a line, then you're right there with them. It doesn't matter. And you're not so stuck on your thing. But the confidence comes with not the preparation that you put into and the understanding and the recitation of the lines, but understanding who that character is and that you are going to show them what that character looks like. When you walk in, it's not an audition, it's a meeting, because you are introducing this character to those people. And I guarantee, as nervous as you might get in that audition, they are twice as nervous because they have to cast this role. You can go down the street and go to another audition. They have to cast this role, and they probably have to cast it today and get you through wardrobe and get you ready for set tomorrow in Canada. So, I mean, I'm not lying. That's how a lot of times this works. So you have to walk in and go, guys, I got this. Not just the scene, I've got this. You're fine. this problem is solved. This is the character. Let's move forward. And you've got 3 other characters you got to cast. Makes sense. So that's where that confidence comes from. Anyway, I also saw my brother over here with the red and white, the blonde hair. Don't turn around. I swear.
Bless you.
There you go. Bless you. I wasn't sure if somebody stepped on a dog. We got time for like 2 more. So my brother, you had a question. Go for it.
Thank you. Definitely. Bangarang, Peter.
That's easy. All you
Easy.
do is scream mine. I need to get a line like that.
Let's do these last 2. You, the ladies first, and then you second, sir. So go ahead.
Okay, this was a question for a friend, but they don't want to be named. To Troy Baker, in Arkham Origins, how was it when you did Joker's monologue? Like, how was that for you?
You're talking about the one with Harley?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool, and there were several versions of that, which I'm really glad that Warner Brothers took their time with that, because it's a big scene, and you start going through it, and you realize that this is where they're putting their foot down on what their Joker looks like, as far as the relationship between he and Batman, and it could get really dicey with how people receive that. So that was one of the first things that I recorded. Yeah, it was one of the first things that I recorded, so we just dropped into it. And then we came back, they're like, yeah, we just want to pick up some stuff. I was like, I had a feeling you would. And then we came back again once they actually got a lot of the visuals working, and I got to see what that was going to look like in the dream sequence and everything. And so there was like probably 2 or 3 different versions of that. Kind of the same thing with the Cold, Cold Heart at the end. We couldn't agree on a version of music that they wanted that Warner Brothers would be willing to pay for. And like they got one license that we could give. It was like, it doesn't really fit, but we could get this one. But one of the licenses would not give the license to Warner Brothers because it was for a video game, which is sad. Because you have to license every version of music. Like there's someone who wrote the song, and you're like, oh, but I really love Blank's version of this song. Can we use the music for that? And they go, no. So you have to get permission or you get sued. And Warner Brothers is weird about being legal. So we ended up just doing it a cappella. And they tried to give me like a click track, and they tried to give me like a piano track. I was like, let me just do it. And so that's just me a cappella at the very end. You said we were gonna do one with this gentleman? Yeah, last question.
Attack on Titan, man.
So, you guys ever like watch the movies or shows, like play the games as a product that you guys are in, or you just?
Yeah, I think the games for sure. I mean, with the films and television stuff, a lot of times I'll see it years later. Of course, you see it at the premiere, the night of premiere is the first time, and then I get a lot more enjoyment seeing it later on. A lot of times, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like for actors, our experience of the projects is the process of doing them. That's kind of like really why we're in it. And then like on the audience side, their experience of them receiving it later on, and then like years later, you can kind of be an audience member of your project, and you kind of enjoy it in the audience way. But it takes a little time. So really, why we got into this is to kind of go through the process of doing it and experiencing the characters and the stories while we're doing it. And then it's kind of crazy too, like with film and television. When I look at it later on, it's a picture book of your life, of that time, of those friends, of shooting in those locations, and the memories of like, oh, I gotta call that guy, or God, I miss that girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, I should write her a letter, like this kind of stuff. So we have this like weird. It's become the projects that we do are just also parts of our lives.
Yes, absolutely. I've got some of the greatest memories of my entire life on the projects that we've worked on. It's exactly it. Like, I can't go to Santa Fe, New Mexico without thinking about this one movie that we did there. It's that forever. That town will be that for me. So it's a kind of a cool thing, and it never takes away any of the magic. It adds a new layer of it, which is what's really cool. But in order for you to go, I forgot about that, you have to let some time kind of, because maybe you had a bad experience and you don't want to take that. It's actually a really good movie. You just had a really bad day on it or whatever. So yeah, giving it some time. But I love the Last of Us was the first thing that I was ever able to fully divorce myself from. Oh, that's me. So that was really cool. But yeah, I can't, especially with games, I can't wait to play the stuff that we make because we never get to see the fully realized version of it until you guys do. So I'm
That's the difference with games, for sure.
in line, you know, oh hello, I'm in line first with anybody. And maybe I might go to Blue Dragon to get a game. You never know.
You're awesome.
What's up? See, you like that little plug? All right, guys.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Cheers.
Cheers. Have a good rest of your con.
Thank you. Nope, you got it.